السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي واجعل لي وزيرا من أهلي هارون أخي اشدد به أزري ويشرك في أمري كي نسبحك كثيرا ونذكرك كثيرا إنك كنت بنا بصيرا. وصلى اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. We're going to make here so this lady shouldn't be thrown away from the door. Okay, the fifth way. So shall we discuss whether we should start at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at the end or not? We should. No. This way, I mean,
maybe at the end.
Sorry?
Maybe at the end.
At the end, okay. Maybe some other people might come. Okay. The fifth way, as far as I understand, we're going to read it by summarizing what we have been doing for months, not weeks. Okay. Who's ready to summarize? Ready to summarize what we have been doing?
Oh. I can try a little bit.
Okay, and you don't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
No, with people are 40, we are all 40, and we have to accept ourselves with our shortcomings. Okay, go ahead, please.
Bismillah. So we are continuing on with arguments for messengership. It's been a really long journey.
It's a long journey.
This is what part?
50.
50. Can you imagine? Part
50?
Ooh, yes.
Almost 1 year.
50.
50. It was a year. Almost a year.
50th anniversary of this topic.
Almost, yeah.
It's interesting, like, how to summarize it. It's just like every time you have like new ideas coming in. At one point you think you understand it, but you're like, no, this doesn't make sense. Let me try again and see, let me do another analysis again. So what we're doing is really trying to find out the meaning of what does messengership means for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why would a human being need a messenger, first of all?
Yes.
And we kind of really elaborated more on that, and we can all answer that, I think, easily, comfortably, right? Because in our human nature, we do desire for guidance. We do desire, directions, right? So we need like a guide or somebody to like at least not show us the way, but like present us with something, and then we can, follow a way which makes sense to us. So that's that as far as needing a guide / messenger to help me understand the meaning of my existence, because I happen to be in existence and I don't know what am I to make out of it, right? I was just like a little baby. I look at my baby picture, I grow, and I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on here, right? I look at these two, I'm like, wait a minute, you guys were like this. Now you're running with me and you're ahead of me? Scary. So yeah, we kind of question all that. And do you want to add on something when I'm speaking?
It's just like meaningful. Like I said earlier online, that's like a blessing, because one who gave us existence is like there for us, like what you said, to God. He's like a guide.
Yeah. So the one who gives us existence is our guide. Like otherwise,
he must
be a guide.
So can nature tell us why we are here? Why are we here?
Yeah.
Nature.
Oh wait, no. But yes.
Nature cannot tell. How about your cells? Can they tell us why are you here?
Yes.
Your cells,
Wait, no.
your body of yourself.
No.
Okay, what else can your blood?
No.
Oh, where are you going to get the answer?
Creator.
No, who gave us existence? He must provide the answer. He must tell why he did it. Why he gave us here with the consciousness, with the awareness that I asked the question, why am I here? And he must say, yeah, You must tell me, because the universe cannot tell me. Can the stars tell you?
No.
Well, don't you know how to read the palms or something? You can get why are you here?
No.
So the palm readings, what's going on? That's strange. What the people say, and you study and read a lot about it, look, your genes will tell you. Your genes, and my genes are asking me, why am I here? I say, come on, you answer me. It is just circular, isn't it? That meaningless. So why people say that we don't take notice of any idea which refers any interpretation? It's a very, very widely used item everywhere. If you refer to anything which is not within the universe so that I can handle, see, keep it and put in the lab and study on it. It means master over it, right? It must be in my hand. For example, I could have put more olive oil in the brown. I'm shaping it, yeah. So that the people who are so-called scientists, they want an element in their argument that they can handle. So they never ask that, what is the source of my existence? And can the universe be the creator of its existence?
No.
They don't ask this question because they have no answer. What they say, no. We don't want any idea which is not within the universe, which is not experiential. You understand? The word experiential, we can experience it. Empirically try on it. That is the last result of the resort. Is the right
Resort.
word? Resort.
Resort, yeah.
Resort.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank you. Resort.
Mm-hmm.
Those so-called scientists base their argument, but this doesn't bring any answer. Why we are here? What are we supposed to do here? What is the meaning of my existence? I ask you, why do I exist? I think, don't you? It is the fundamental question. Why do I exist? Who brought me into existence? And gave me the consciousness. I repeat this, but it's extremely important. Gave me the consciousness, awareness. I ask this question.
Why
am I here? Yeah. Why am I here? So, whoever made me, enabled me to ask this question, must provide me the answer. But they say we are the product of nature. You will hear, as you maybe so far you might have heard this from your teachers.
Yes.
It happened. What grade are you? What grade in school?
Sixth.
Sorry?
Sixth grade.
You are the 6th grade. It means 11 years old. Are you?
Yes.
Yeah. Look, 11 years old children's brain are shaped with this stupid idea which has no answer. What is nature?
Nature is just there. It has been created.
Well, it has been here. Here is the nature. The mountains, the stars, and the atmosphere are there. Nature, right? The trees, animals, human beings. What we mean by nature? What is within the universe? Yeah?
Things that, yeah.
Yeah, okay. If I am the product of nature, if the nature made me with the quality to ask the question, why am I here? Nature must provide the answer to me. When I'm asking the tree, why am I here? Tree just looks at me, stares at me and says, are you stupid? Where shall I get the answer from?
The one who gave you existence.
Whoever, excellent. I think you have been doing online discussions. The one who gave you the existence must answer this. And this one cannot be the universe itself, because there is no answer to my question. They say, very simple, some people try to struggle with this idea, not necessarily to deny any reference to God, but say, okay, we believe in God, but what they say, the answer, the nature, it cannot give the answer to our moral questions. Have you heard of this? Human morality. They say, for example, I say, I shouldn't steal, I shouldn't kill, I shouldn't harm, etc. Human morality. They say matter cannot be the source of human morality. That's a legitimate answer. Do you understand human morality, for example?
Yes.
Do you love your mother?
Yes.
Well, because she cooks you very delicious food and takes care of you. Your father?
Yes.
Which one more? Father. No, doesn't work. Doesn't work.
One answer.
Doesn't work. Mother, huh? Okay, it doesn't matter. Why do you love your mother?
Because she raised me.
Yeah. Well, how do you love your mother? Which one? Which cells make you love her?
My genes. Wait.
Your genes.
Wait, no.
Do you think the genes can create the sense of love?
No. The one who gave us
But
existence.
genes will produce what? Protein. Not love, not fear, not ability to question. They just produce protein.
The one who gave us existence.
So silly. The answer is so silly. But the people say human morality is the best way to go to question against materialistic interpretation. I think the corner is yours, Fatih.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Yeah.
Now, this is the best way, but that is correct. But even more fundamental than this, consciousness and for the consciousness being able to question, what am I doing? They will come to this point. It is not in the market yet, in the field. No, it is an extraordinary one. Do we have extraordinary? One is enough. No, you can take, and this is extraordinary.
I give him one.
Doesn't have. Everybody has it. Okay, that's one.
Is this extra as well?
Oh yeah, of course. You can take even two, if you like. But there's one more. Okay. Oh, the argument will come to the consciousness, because consciousness includes everything. Consciousness includes your brain functioning. Consciousness includes your moral qualities. And if you question the source of the consciousness, materialist philosophers, scientists have no answer. They don't have an answer for the question of morality, but morality is not all-encompassing. Why? Because, for example, the question, ability to question is not in the morality. Morality only for ethical subjects, which is a part of the whole. Do you follow that? Now, inshallah, soon people will realize they started arguing about the nature of morality, what is morality. Then they will shift into asking for the source of existence of morality. And then materialist interpretation presented to us by the scientists will collapse. They will say, we cannot describe consciousness let alone giving an answer to the source of existence of consciousness. In fact, in the religious literature, or the Quran or the Old Testament, consciousness is represented with the word spirit, soul. In the Quranic language, ruh. Because materialist scientists deny the existence of ruh. But we are not animals, we are human beings. We have our own ruh, spirit, soul. Soul includes everything. Right? Inshallah, we will be aware. So, the questions are with us. Answers to these questions are not only within us, within the universe either. What shall we do? Okay, I think you left that.
Right. So what do we do now, right? You find yourself in a state of agony, right? Here I am, given existence, bombarded with all these questions. Why am I here? What is the meaning of my existence, right? Who brought me here, and so on. I ask, things, objects, the universe.
Yourself.
I ask myself to, hey, knock knock, right?
Yeah.
Fariha, tell me, what am I to do here, right? Fortunately, nothing answers me, right? My fingers don't answer me. So I am in desperate need of answers to my existential human questions.
Yeah.
And we're searching for it. Where do we seek such answers?
Now, sorry?
Where do we seek such answers? What am I to do now?
Yeah. So we have to, what was your name?
Rayon.
Rayan. Rayan. So Rayan answered the question. The one who gave existence to your consciousness must provide the answer. So our mantra is this. Questions are human, answers are
Divine.
Why divine? Source of existence. Divine means source of existence. So we have to wait or seek or investigate the divine guidance. So divine guidance means some way, somehow, my creator must reach me up and let me know the answer.
How and in what ways or through what means?
So historically, all human societies have the notion of some sort of creator and also where shall it skills? That's what you need. Yeah. Oh, but what we can do, look, this gentleman can take the chair and sit there. Put the chair there and sit. Don't you think? We can ask him. Okay.
So historically, you were saying.
Historically, all human societies refer their existence to a creator.
Yeah.
Whatever the name they use doesn't matter. Can you take the chair there? Is there anything on the chair? Put them down here. Remove this one here. Give it to us. Yeah. Now, if you don't mind, you can sit.
Me, sir?
Yes.
No.
So put this one the way.
That's okay.
Okay. Come on. Okay. Use that one. No, use that one. It may be cold. Okay. You say, oh, I'm not comfortable here. I'm not coming again. No. That's why. Okay. So and also in human social life, historically, there have been many narrations about the previous societies that somebody said, I brought the news to you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is narrated by each one. For example, the Quran claims that it is the last one. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Now, and refers to the Bible and Torah. And Torah refers to other prophets. So, Torah mentions about the creation of Adam, the first prophet, and others as well. Noah before it. And the Quran also refers to that. It means they confirm each other. And they emphasize on the same fundamental point. We have a creator who is the omnipotent one, who is the source of this existence, and he created you for this and this and that reason. Please try to understand the creator from the way he creates the universe. That is the reference. Now, what is the materialistic view confuses? Instead of using the universe as an evidence to the truthfulness of the claim of these series of prophetic missions or divine guidance or revelations, using it as an evidence, they use it as a source of existence, rather than evidence for the existence of its creator. They use the art without referring to its artist.
Mm-hmm.
They use, if you like, the machine without referring to its engineer.
Mm-hmm.
So they use how the living bodies work, or if they are the physicists, they use how the galaxies and the relationship between the galaxies and stars, etc., systems, not as a reference, as an evidence to the qualities of this creator, but they say it is happening by itself. They are happening by themselves. That is the fundamental argument. The materialist philosophy is basing itself. This is the source of information. Now, of course, in practical terms, I can take the machine and try to understand how it works. It is a legitimate effort. It is a legitimate effort. I must learn how it works. Is legitimate? But the way it works always refers to the quality of its engineer. Because there is no way for me to attribute a mechanism consciously, intelligently working by the matter itself, organized by the matter itself, because matter has no consciousness, no intelligence, no free will, no choice. It is obvious that it is made. The human beings make the machine. We experience this as an example in the creation again. The universe has been created in such a way that it must be used by human beings as an example. For example, I am able to follow the rules in the universe, set in the universe, order in the universe, make the machine, and reason by using the machine, saying that by using the machine, saying that, look, this machine has been given all the programs by an intelligent source, because everything is intelligently designed, and the matter itself the materialist view based on it is bases all its arguments on the matter. The matter itself cannot be the source of intelligence. So that is an analogy I am making. Analogy. So this is a machine as compared to any living being or any galaxy, any the celestial bodies. This is although computer is complicated, but very simple compared to human body working or plants and other animals working. It is extremely simple. I mean, it cannot be even a millionth of the complication that the universe has. Maybe a million. I don't know. You cannot really. But this is an analogy given this opportunity given to human beings to make sense that, look, this machine cannot make itself, so it must have a conscious designer maker. Does it make sense? Now, this machine, in fact, must be used in order to appreciate the quality of its maker. Now, you can learn how it works, but whatever the data, documents you have must be used in order to understand the quality of its maker. That's an analogy given, there's an opportunity given to human beings to make sense of it. And then compare it to another machine-like bodies. Galaxies, celestial bodies, living beings, plants, animals, human beings themselves. No, I am million, maybe billion times more complicated than this. And my body consists of as simple elements as the machine has. Since I can easily confirm that this machine must have an intelligent, conscious designer, creator. How about my body, my human side? Who designed me? Who gave existence to me? Who gave existence to me?
The Creator.
The one who created me gave existence to me. So I must use my human qualities. I must use anything that I investigate. I study in the lab. All the qualities must be used as evidence to the quality of its creator, which is maker. This is the universe is a lab for every human being. Now, every human being is a scientist. Some of them are very complicated scientists. Some of them are very simple scientists. For example, if you go to a village, let's say, a person there has never been out of its village. And dealing with farming, what happens to this person? He learns how the farming works. And he knows that the earth, the water, molecules, he doesn't know the molecules, so water drops, he says. The earth, water drops, and the sunlight, whatever it is, he doesn't know. It's a very ignorant man, very ignorant man. Cannot be the source of existence of the lovely lamb, newly born, or its mother, the sheep. So investigate the sheep, you can slaughter it, you can cut the meat and see what is that. It is just matter. There's no consciousness. It is working wonderfully. Yeah, my machine is working wonderfully as well. We have to make analogy. Now, simple analogy, observable analogy to a more complicated analogy. universe-wise, who set or gave existence to the universe, set the universe to work as it is working now. Who did it?
The one who gave you existence.
Perfect. Yeah. But that makes sense. So what they say, you cannot look at the machine and say that it is an engineer because you have experienced it. But it's an analogy. Analogy must be within the grasp of the human experience. No, if you ask me how this pencil came into existence, or not, who made this existence? If I say, giving the examples from the celestial bodies, you say, excuse me, I don't know who made this pencil. You are giving me an example which is far beyond my capacity to examine. So if you can give the better example, a simple example. You can say, the simple example. For example, universe has an order. How do we know? Look at, we are living in the solar system. Does the solar system have an order working perfectly? No. Okay, so I can use the solar system, how it is perfectly ordered, and use this analogy because this is, I am experiencing the sun, the movement of the sun, the movement of the moon, movement of the earth. This is an order here. They don't really act accidentally, randomly. Now, use this analogy, say, there is a galaxy up there, there must be an order there too. Because there's no clash, there's no confusion, yeah? They are working perfectly. What happens? This analogy, which is accessible to human beings, is applied to understand something else which is not as easy. So I use the machine example, human-made machine example. I may not see the man who made the machine, but my logic says there must be an engineer. So transfer this logic, this component. If something is made, needs to be made, right? For example, the simple, here's the pencil. Here is the wood side. It's not wood plastic, but it's the fake. So wood side, here is the metal, is a rubber, right? Perfectly working. When you push the rubber, oh, how do you go? Lead comes out. Like you can use it. It's a mechanic. Right? Can you say that it happened by itself? Consciously, it cannot be a pencil. If I cannot put this one, cannot put a pencil. If there is no lead, cannot put a pencil. If there is no rubber, and then I cannot really practically erase what I have written wrong by mistake. Now, what we can say, this is an interesting argument. This is an interesting argument. They say it developed by itself. Right? Now, let's see. If one of the parts of this pencil is missing, it doesn't function as a pencil, and how it is going to develop as a pencil. It doesn't function as a pencil. It is just throw it away. They say it, biologically speaking, this species, any species, for example, can you imagine an eagle with one wing or two wings, but the wing is not really prepared exactly to fly in the air. So light and also moves the air and also muscle and the ability to use his muscle. When it is halfway through, but it's developing, can it fly?
Yes.
Halfway, for example, the wings are not big enough to carry the body. Yeah? And the body is heavy, but the wings are not really large enough to stay in the air. Can it fly as an eagle?
No.
No. Now, they say, try. It is ridiculous. But it cannot fly. In the early development, it cannot fly. It is not a bird. So how can it develop? It cannot fly. That's ridiculous. Anyways, these arguments are interesting and important to know, to bear in mind. They are just using their obstinate idea to deny that I'm not going to accept anything which I cannot manipulate, which I cannot master. That's why they close the door for God's revelation, Creator's revelation to human beings in order to explain why they exist in the world. So it will be a superior position when they accept God. They cannot act, use their free will as they want. They have to acknowledge the Creator and they have to act in order to fulfill the purpose of their existence. That is nothing but egoistic. They understand egoistic? Egoistic, selfish, arrogance. Nothing. So we have to open to the idea that God, the Creator, must let me know the answer. And historically, certain people came and said that, look, I don't know, but somehow I received this message and I am here to transfer it to human beings. Right? I have no claim that I am a big philosopher. I am a sage man, nothing. I am a not hero, nothing. I am an ordinary, simple man like you and me, but something happened. In the case of the Prophet Muhammad, who claimed that I am receiving some message, he received the message, everybody witnessed that, while he is not while he is unconscious, under sweating. Now, you can write a beautiful poem, meaningful poem, while you are aware, not while you are suffering from some sort of unconsciousness. How do you call this illness? Sarasutu in Turkish. There is a
Hypnotized?
Sorry?
Hypnotized?
No. Epilepsy. But have you ever seen anybody who fell down on the ground when epilepsy like this and cannot really move? The foams come out of his mouth, unconscious, cannot move. During this time, he will make the most beautiful, meaningful poem during that time. Huh? But it may say at night it worked on it, wrote the poem, but not while he is under epilepsy disease. That's what they say Muhammad was on head epilepsy. It's crazy. If you don't want to accept the reality, you have to what? You have to make up an excuse for it. Now, lastly, we said, okay, the prophets, there must be some messengers who carries the message, or who is given the message to convey the message to human beings. There must be some messengers. Okay, that's one. That's what the argument was for a year, almost a year we have this study. And now lately, the subject came, okay, there must be a messenger. I understand, but how do I know that Muhammad was the messenger? That's what we have been studying. Now, this is the last one. The author said we have 5 ways to understand that Muhammad was the messenger and he had the signs. Now, we are very close to the end now. We are going to study today the 5th way of understanding. 21? Here it is. Oh, sorry. Yeah. We are here to understand the 5th way of examining whether a person 1400 years ago claimed that I'm not a sage, I'm not a philosopher, I have not been educated at all, even I don't know how to read and write, and in the community I brought up, there was no book, no education institution at all. And there was nothing, no Christianity, no Judaism tradition there. The people he grew up within were pagans. And he came up with a message which requires, beyond human capacity, all the answers to human questions. The message he brought contains, that's a requires, contains all the answers to your human questions and asks, use your brain, use your consciousness in order to evaluate what I am saying to you. It is not mine. It is from your creator. Well, if you are using a message, let's go and use the analogy again. If you are trying to understand how to use the computer or iPhone in the best way, and someone says, look, the engineer told me that if you do this, it will happen. Engineer told me. Have you seen the engineer? No. You have seen only this messenger between you and the engineer. And the man comes, let's say technician, comes as an engineer, taught me that if you do this, it will make in this way. What do I do? How can I make sure that this man learned from the engineer? Whatever he says, I have to practice it in the computer. If it works, what do you say?
It works.
Man, this man is a truthful man, trustworthy man. And yes, I applied it, all worked. Right?
Yeah.
Or a person comes to you with the handbook. That this handbook has been prepared by the engineer of this machine. Right? And you open the handbook and read line by line, apply to the machine. It works. Everything what it says, it works. So what we are expected to do, it's very simple. What Muhammad claimed, we will take it. And starting from ourselves, our own human questions, apply to the universe as well, everything in the world. What it says, and apply to the universe, to yourself, whether it works or not. If it works, oh, this man is a messenger. Right? It is interesting that this man says something not only referring to the past, to the future as well, that we are going to read. Now, No way for him. He's not a historian. He's not going to learn anything from the teachers. There's no teacher. There's no school where they teach history. There's no book in the community, in Mecca community. That's very interesting. And this man tells us something which corresponds to the previous messages that the prophets brought to human beings. But he has not seen them. He has not received any education from them. Only once his uncle took him to Syria for a caravan. You know caravan? Yeah, caravan, in the caravan. And so he was a child, maybe in your age. Maybe a little, no, maybe younger, maybe. Yeah, he was an orphan, 3 years old. He became an orphan. And he met a religious man, Christian monk, for 1 hour, 2 hours, and he learned, they claim, that stupid people, they are not stupid, obstinate people. They don't want to submit. They said he learned everything when he was a child from the monk he visited for 2 hours and wrote the book, the Quran. Can you believe? 2 hours teaching. In 2 hours, can you learn whatever is written in the Quran and deliver it during the 23 years without any contradiction? Same message, same points, but different applications. Is it possible? That is just a claim, but some people, not scientists, some people who study Islam in order to undermine Islam, compete with Islamic teaching, they are called Orientalists. They come up with some sort of excuses. That he learned from the monk. He met a monk for 2 hours. That's not without shame, they claim. No shame. Okay. Right? Would you like to add anything?
No, it's just interesting. It just makes me ponder more on things. Like, I was just thinking about, dehistoricizing our concepts of messengership, because somebody's just presenting us a packet, right? That's it. And it's up to, if you have this dire need of doing something about it, so you kind of try it in, okay, so this is what you're sharing in, let me try, if it works, all good and stuff. But the same packet is accessible for everybody throughout, right? Whatever we call past, future, present, it's just, hey, it's there, benefit from it if you want to do something with your existence. It's like a lot of time, the way things are presented, even like, we just need to, I personally dehistoricize this messengership concept as well. You know what I mean?
Not the messengership concept. No, we don't historicize the messengership concept. We historicize the messengership of Muhammad because he's a historical man. Mm-hmm. We don't what we have started from the beginning without referring to any past or future. Mm-hmm. Just now, mm-hmm. I have received the package, mm-hmm. as you described, and now I examine it. Mm-hmm. Now I am examining it. Now, mm-hmm. not 1400 years ago. Right. But when we say, how do we know that Muhammad was a messenger? Mm-hmm. What I should do, first, the message, the package he brought to me, mm-hmm. but how can I know that this person was honest, this person's life condition was, so that it cannot be produced by him.
Mhm.
So I have to go into his historical context.
Mhm.
That's to me necessary.
Mhm.
But how about the message? Message, he claimed it is from the creator,
Mhm.
or if the message was from the creator, it would match my questions and answer them.
Mhm.
Now, that is one thing. The examining the message is different from the claim of a person. Now, message, yes, message is interesting,
Yeah.
but when we say Muhammad, it's not necessarily you have to know his father's and mother's name.
Mhm.
A person lived 1450 years ago.
Mhm.
A person.
Mhm.
So when we say Muhammad, we shouldn't pretend as if we know the man.
Mhm.
No, historically narrated, there was a man, whoever he is, I don't know. They said he lived in Mecca. Yeah, okay, but historically, yes, no one challenged this.
Mhm.
But even he didn't live in Mecca. I don't care, because there was a man who brought this message.
Mhm.
That is the point.
Mhm.
Now, message is the main evidence for his claim.
Mhm.
But also, why not to refer to this man and see this message cannot be the product of this historical man, whoever he is.
Mhm.
That's what we have to make the distinction between historicizing the message,
Mhm.
but referring to referring the message to a historical person.
Mhm.
That is different. I think we studied on it and we discussed on it a lot.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else who's not sleeping? No, it's all right. Is it something strange? Is it the first time you are coming? Or
Yeah.
do you find anything doesn't match, doesn't make sense, or strange? Is it our problem next one? No. Okay. No. Do you have any questions, anyone? So we are going to start reading the fifth way. Any questions? Fifth way. Okay.
No, not already.
Page 21. Good. Do you have any problem?
Did you study the false position and the reminder? Page 20.
Look. I have marked here. That's what I remember.
I have marked.
Sorry?
I have page 20. We're supposed to continue from as for the third objection. Is that the same?
Sorry?
Yes,
The
I think
The
first
third objection.
supposition and a reminder.
No, not even there before that.
A reminder, I think we read the reminder, I remember. Okay.
We read the reminder on page 19.
I think we have been studying
Yeah, as far as I remember, as for the third objection,
what?
page 20, first paragraph.
But don't. A reminder or before that? Third
Before
objection.
reminder.
The one before.
Have you studied the third objection? No. Why did I write it here then? I don't mind studying, but
We did the reminder on page 19.
Yeah.
And then we ended
I
at
see.
the top of page 20.
as for the third objection,
Yeah, that's where we are.
we haven't studied it. We read the reminder on the page on page 19. Oh, I didn't know that. Maybe I marked wrong there. No. Well, we can go back if you like. The objection, do you know the third objection? Do you know the third objection? I can. The third is not. Okay. Do you have the page with you?
Page 20, right?
18.
No.
No, the
Page
question.
Oh, the question.
The question itself, and come back to the page 20.
That's the question, the third?
Yeah. Can you read the question to us?
Okay.
Oh, it was my mistake.
Alrighty.
I marked it there. Let me erase it because of human beings forget in 2 weeks, but Muhammad didn't forget 23 years and same consistency. Okay? All right?
The third is that you may not be able to see some statements of the Quran.
No, not this one, not this one. Page 18. Yeah, and not everybody has page 18,
All right.
right? But you have it.
The third is that you may not be able to see some statements of the Quran as congruent with some rational and observable realities. You may not be able to see some statements of the Quran as congruent with some rational and observable realities, and may regard it as unfitting for its purposes of guidance and establishment of truth.
Yeah. This is the objection. Objection.
Yes, that makes
Objection
sense.
to the prophet,
But of
the
Muhammad.
messengership of Muhammad.
All right, that makes sense.
So he brought a message, doesn't really fit. The objection says,
Yes.
what we experience here, the reality of what we are experiencing here in the universe, in this life.
Mhm.
Well, let's see what he has to say.
Okay.
Page 20 now. We come back to page 20.
Alrighty. Page 20, folks. First paragraph. As for the third objection, which is not being able to see the apparent meanings of some Quranic statements as being in congruity with some rational or observable realities, after first consulting the first premise.
We studied long ago, months ago, first premise. Okay.
You should consider this. The four basic purposes of the Quran are establishing in the mind God's existence and oneness.
Well, that's one.
Yes, that.
Yeah. Basic purposes of the Quran. One.
Yeah, which makes sense. Really going back to what you were saying about.
Summarizing it, actually. I think, I'm not sure, but in the first premise, it is summarizing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And this goes back to, like you were saying, about whatever is available to us in the form of package, which tells us, hey, gather evidence from what you have available, which is myself and the universe, right? I'm part of the universe. And see if through those evidences I can conclude or establish this, the existence of the creator, like through the qualities manifested, just like in the analogy.
This is the objection, not the objects of the teachings of the Quran.
Mm-hmm.
One, establishing in the mind, not one.
Yes. Okay.
God's existence. One. God is existence
Mhm.
and oneness, uniqueness.
Right, that makes sense. And then the prophethood.
Yeah, that is the second
Uh-huh.
The
Objectives
objective
Quran.
of the Quran. Mhm.
Interesting. So the first objective of the Quran is establishing in the mind God's existence and oneness. The second objectives of the Quran is establishing the prophethood.
Yeah, because without prophethood, Quran doesn't make sense. Without the messenger, Quran doesn't make sense because I cannot communicate with the absolute one. The absolute one should descend to my level. So speak to me within the capacity of my understanding and tell me all the answers that I ask. That's why messengership is, if God speaks to me in the way that I understand, he must send this message, which contains, the message contains the answers to my question to a person that delivered this one. Nowadays, it may be our mindset that, okay, as the president of a state goes on and makes an announcement, but
Address.
calls the journalists, everybody, and let's call something.
Press conference.
Sorry? Press conference. Yeah. But before there was no press conference, there was no TV, there was no radio. Yeah. The Sultan used to deliver its rules, for example, through people. So go and announce people. So he used to employ a person. This is what I decided. This is my decision, and send it out to people. So the messengers are employed by God, one person, but he experienced it, practiced it, and let the people know what the message is. And himself followed the message, practiced the message. So that's why the prophethood is, if one doesn't accept the institution of the messengership, how can I have an access to God's answers?
The way I'm taking it now, yeah, you can't. So the prophethood is just like the vehicle or the means for me to access the package.
Yeah, two things. Prophet is needed. The message is timeless.
Mm-hmm.
Now, answers to very human questions. Every question says, what am I doing here? Every human being says, what am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
Now, message is timeless, but every society receives the message anew. Why? If the old message has been corrupted or forgotten. But human beings forget. In 2 weeks' time, I forget everything. It's correct, as far as I'm concerned. Some people don't. Okay, we congratulate them. But or either forgotten or corrupted refreshes the message according to the new conditions of the human society. Because human beings we have to understand that we shouldn't really misunderstand this point. Are human beings developing? Yes. In which sense? Are the societies developing? Yes, I agree that they are developing, making progress. In which sense? In which sense? Answer.
The the resources available to us through means like
So which resources?
technological advances.
Not technological advances. Well, don't limit take the language.
Materials.
How the order works. Yeah?
Mhm,
How the order works.
mhm.
They say technological advances, and then they get some credit. The materialist philosophers, scientists get some credit. We are the source of technological advances. They deserve some credit if they don't distort by interpreting it in the wrong way. Of course, they study. Now, how the order works. These technological
Oh, I see what you mean.
advances are nothing but deciphering, uncovering how the order works. So, what is there? This method has two sides. One is fixed, the other one is flexible. Fixed one is human nature, the way human beings are created with a certain capacity. Every human being has the same potentiality. We keep saying this because I don't see among the thinking people making this distinction, the potentiality and capacity. It is so simple matter. By now you must have fed up with this repetition. Those people who come to these classes. Now this man keeps saying it, but no one I heard. Human potentiality is endless and fixed for everyone. But capacity depends on your investigation, discovery of the order. So fixed side is human potentiality. Developing, increasing, or fluctuating side is capacity. But what makes the capacity change? Human beings have the same potentiality. For example, you didn't introduce this beautiful lady to us.
Introduce yourself, please.
My name is Mariam.
Mariam, easy to remember. Not Ryan. It was all right. Cheyenne, Ryan.
Still
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, the other one is Cheyenne. So Mariam, good to that. Your name is very common and we remember it. Yes, Mariam. So what do you do? What do you do? Are you an engineer or doctor or what? What are you doing? Just eating whatever your mother provides for you? What's the easy way of living? If only my mother was alive as well. Okay, Miriam, are you going to school? I think you're doing your age. Do you go to school?
Yes.
What grade?
4th grade.
12?
4th.
Say that again.
4th grade.
Fourth grade. 9 years old. You are brothers? Ryan and Miriam, are they brother and sister? Are you?
Yeah.
So this is 4th grade, this is 12th. No,
6th.
6th grade. Right. So you are following each other. Which is more successful in mathematics? Which one of you? Do you love maths?
She's getting better grades in math than me.
But that is an honest profession. I appreciate your honesty. Yeah. She's better. Are you better on maths? You like math? Do you love mathematics? You love it. What do you love? Your favorite class?
Social studies. Social studies, like
Social studies, okay. What are you intending to become at the end of your education?
teacher.
Teacher? Inshallah. Inshallah. So, your capacity, your potentialities are the same. If Miriam studies more mathematics, at the end, she will be much well educated and knowledgeable in mathematics than you are, if you continue. Right or wrong? Right. Okay. So human beings develop their capacities by uncovering the order, how it works. Yeah. Do they learn something from the stars? Angels come and teach them. No, they work in the lab. What do they do in the lab?
They work.
They take the examples from the universe and find out how they work. Order. Now, the human beings develop in finding the uncovered, unknown qualities of the order already existing. Do you think the order of the universe is changing? No,
Yeah.
only expanding, but same order. Expansion of the universe is also within the order of the universe. Nothing is fixed, everything is changing, but order, does the order change?
No.
No. We understand the difference. These are fine points. Order never changes. Although expansion of the universe is real, as they were really mathematically or also observed, they see it, right? The human beings are uncovering this, but order never changes. Expansion of the universe is also the order of the universe. Do you understand? So everything changes. For example, 5 years ago, or let's put it in this way, 6 years ago, you were 5 years old. Right?
Yes.
Are you the same?
No.
You changed. But you changed according to what?
Expansion.
Yeah, your body expands, but according to your body, does your body change accidentally or follows an order? No, but your body is constructed within an order. You cannot do anything. Any part of your body can do anything without following the order. Right or wrong? That is also a very essential point. Very essential point we should never forget. You develop within the order. The human generations also become more and more aware of how the order of the universe works. There seems to be no end because they cannot get to the end. They want to catch something, it expands. Next day. So the order is so that it's as if asking people, come on, discover me, uncover my mysteries, and these mysteries are becoming larger and larger and larger spread. What the human beings can say, oh, I understand, the universe is expanding, that's it. And also Ryan is growing. So this is human development in understanding how the order works. What is fundamental for human beings? Although you develop, you grow, the human generations, generation by generation, they expand their space of information, scope of information about the order changes, but human nature never changes. Do you understand the difference now? I think I spoke a lot.
Yeah, the order that always stays the same, but
The order,
uncovering more of the order is what's expensive.
now, in time-wise, the things change, but they change within
An order.
an order.
Mm-hmm.
So order is the same.
Yes.
Human potentiality is the same,
It's the same, yeah.
but human capacity changes. Miriam will be a mathematics teacher, and Ryan will be, and maybe, I don't know, philosophy teacher. I don't know, which one do you like? Or what do you want, social scientists? Do you want to become a lawyer like Tati?
I'm not. Well, I want to be a basketball player when I grow up.
Basketball player. Okay. You are free to change your mind later on when you come to the realities of your life. So basketball playing, okay, it was good for me when I was 11 to 15 years old. And then you say, but by playing basketball, I cannot make money in my life, and let's forget about it. But anyways, whatever you want to do, you work for it. Huh? You work for it harder, and but Miriam cannot become a basketball player if he doesn't work on it. You cannot become a mathematics teacher if you don't work, study mathematics, discover what is within the world, right? If you don't learn Chinese, can you speak Chinese? No. If you learn, can you?
Yes.
Yeah, you understand the difference now? If you discover, then your capacity increases. It's flexible. But do you have the potentiality to speak Chinese?
No.
Potentiality. If you learn it, can you?
Yes.
Yeah, you see, one side of us is fixed, the other side of us is changing, developing. That's why the revelation keeps the main points, main purposes, main objectives, but examples change according to the capacity of human generations. Because their understanding of the order changes. Yeah, if you show me, for example, if somebody sings here, I wouldn't know how well this person is a singer. I don't know, because I am not the expert. But if I study and understand the qualities of voice and vocal, whatever, then I become aware, yeah, of the quality of the singer. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if someone is going to speak to me, if he speaks to me at the very preliminary, very primitive level, I will say, oh, I know it, pass. What I want a teacher to teach me where I am in my understanding or appreciating the music, one step ahead of me. Although the purpose is the same, to learn what my creator is, but I can learn the quality of the singer according to my capacity. Do you understand this? It's important. I can learn the quality of the maker, the creator of the universe, according to my capacity. If my capacity increases, what I should do, I should be receiving a teaching which addresses my capacity so that I will benefit from it. For example, who study mathematics, or anything, any subject, what do you study? What's your subject? Anything?
History.
Sorry?
History. History.
History.
History? I can't hear. Sorry. History. Okay. Do you have a history class?
Yeah.
No.
It's social studies basically.
Yeah, in basically social, but it is in the history. It is in the social studies.
Yeah.
Okay. If someone gives you a book that Ryan is studying, what do you do with it?
Read it.
Do you learn anything new?
Maybe.
Ryan's book. But do you rather, for example, would you like to go with Ryan to the same class and listen to social study? Why?
Because I've already done it.
Yeah, you have already done it. Okay, so I should put the question in the right way. But let's say, I don't know, are you studying now? No, finished. So if you start a graduate study, master study in history, which kind of teacher would you like? Ryan's teacher or a professor who teaches in the professor? Now you see, although you have the same potentialities, Ryan needs another teacher, you are then your teacher. That's why the prophets change in the course of time. Must message change. Although the purpose of the social studies is one of the purposes of social studies is to teach history. When you go to the graduate study, you are learning the history. Learning the history is the same objective, but level is different. The Quran, also the messages of the old prophets, have the same objectives, but the levels are different. You know why? If you don't pay attention to the fixed side of human beings and developing side of human beings, if you don't take it, you expect that the message was sent to Solomon must be exactly the message I am receiving. Objectives are the same, teaching history, but levels are different. That's why we have to understand that the teachings of the Quran, the value of the teachings of the Quran comes from its objectives according to the level of the people. But the Quran has another aspect. Give us the simplest example. In a way, you can learn the higher level of education from. That is unique to the literature quality of the Quran. You understand? And that needs a special studies now.
So the guidance that I expect from the source of my existence needs to meet and address the dynamic needs of myself as they change, which also requires that I interact with it in a dynamic fashion.
Then you have to.
Right.
You have to. Well, everybody has to. He has to know that, look, the Quran was revealed at this time in history, and we don't know the end, but let's say until now, okay? And now it must teach the people from 1450 years ago until now, as far as we are concerned, in a way that every one of the different degrees, let's say history, let's say your major is history, okay? And first year history, second year, third year, fifth year, or the fourth year, right? History. The teacher must teach a history book. When you are the first year college student, you will benefit from it. But will you understand everything there? Because it includes the fourth year. And let's say now the first year, 101. The fourth year is 307 or 320, 320, for example. I don't know, but I'm just guessing and throwing a number. Now, it's all there. When you read a history book written by a human being, it is 1 degree. But when you read the Quran, the first time you are the first year college student in history. When you really study it a little bit more deeper, the same text, you become second year college student in history. Example using history. When you read it, when you are on the fourth year, you read the Quran, you say, there are more information in it. The nature of the Quran's eloquence, literature value includes it. That's so amazing. That's why people study the Quran. Oh, you know, how many pages are there in the Quran? Not the handwritten, calligraphic written pages are very small. If you make it like this page, we are reading this page, how many pages maybe?
450.
Sorry, no, it is already something like 600 pages.
Right now,
Yeah.
600.
But if you read it, if you write it in this way, small, or how do you say?
Small font.
Small
Font.
fonts, yeah. Small fonts and large paper. Not that the Quran has lots of decorations here in the only this part is written. And also calligraphy.
You can probably
if you can make it 150 pages at most 200. People study 200 to 150 or 100 pages 40 years. The more they study, the more amazed they become.
Right. So it needs to address not only all of the different degrees and conditions of people from when it was revealed to now, right? But also the many, in a sense, infinite degrees of understanding and levels that each individual has within themselves as well. Of all those people, right?
Yeah, according to the human capacity and the capacity of the literature value of the Quran corresponds. The more you study the Quran, but it needs experience. The more you become aware what is hidden in the literature value. Apparently, it says the same thing. For example, the most common and seemingly simple statement of the Quran is what? La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Qul huwallahu ahad. If you ask me, anytime I study the Quran, come to a verse, sentence, which says La ilaha illahu, La ilaha illallah, whatever. My understanding changed. I never understood 20 years ago, 10 years ago, what I understood from La ilaha illahu. And now I'm sure if I am alive in 10 years' time, it will change. So it is so much, the literature is so much contextualized with the fine tuning of the literature eloquence. Not only the sentences, not only the words, even the how do you call it? The connecting
Structure.
Connecting between the words.
Proposition.
Big propositions. Even the propositions becomes much more interesting anytime you deliberately designed. That's why some people devoted their life to concentrate on the eloquence quality of the Quran. Whole life. They wrote tafsir, commentaries, volumes of commentaries to point out the eloquence of the Quran. But it needs patience and study constantly. So that's one side of it. What is it? I see. That's one side of it. What we should remember now, objectives are the same. The language is the same. We said the text of the Quran is what? Text of the Quran is static. But the meaning of the static text is dynamic. The books written by human beings don't have this quality. That makes the people amazed as they study. The more I study, the deeper I get into the meaning that the same sentence says it. It needs serious study.
Yeah, so like you're saying, the text is static. Any text is static. The meaning is always dynamic. We cannot limit it. Even like books that maybe we may have read, like regular novels or something you read growing up. Later on, if you read it again, I think it's human nature to get a dynamic meaning out of it, because your stage at that moment is different than what your stage at that moment you read was.
Yeah, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't really, for example, yes, you can admire the literature quality of a text,
Mm-hmm.
but the meaning you extract according to your capacity, but still they don't answer the questions of, let's say, 100, 200 later generations. For example, the Quran uses so simple language, but simple language doesn't mean that it doesn't have endless layers as far as human capacity is concerned, endless layers of meaning, and giving the answer to your questions in your age, providing the answer to your question. There's a classical example. If you read the Shakespeare, you have to read the Shakespeare only within its historical context. Can you bring it to your context? Shakespeare?
Yeah, the novels that they make those like even movies are transformed, right, to fitting the current state of the century we're living in.
So do you think Shakespeare knew how the human capacity will develop, 200 years later than his time?
I don't know about that part.
No, but the literature capacity, according to your understanding from the literature, but the content is designed according to his own life experience.
But the fact that, as you were saying, human nature is fixed, if a piece of literature appeals to a universal condition of a human being, then that appeal remains universal regardless of the time span. So even if the author may not have intended it, even if Shakespeare didn't intend it, right? If the story is something that is inherent in a human condition, like let's say not wanting to die, then regardless of the historical setting, that it remains relevant. But in a sense, the text isn't consciously doing this. It's still a dead text.
As far as
if I put in the effort, I can, to a certain degree.
As far as the content of the text is limited to its time strain, but the language of the Quran is not limited to time limitations or the time conditions. That is how the Quran presents the evidence, although the objectives are the same. The objectives are answering the questions that human nature asks. It means human potentiality asks.
I think let's just keep in mind that questions are human, but remember the answers are divine. So when it comes to a text which claims to be the speech of my creator, the answers in there are divine as opposed to any other text, because it's man-made, right? Influenced by, human limitations.
Time constraints.
Yes. So like, although as human beings we can benefit from a text, I guess, from last century or so, like, that you're talking about Shakespeare or any other novels or so on. But when it comes to somebody presenting me a divine speech, then there are a lot of things that I need to engage with the text as far as, So this text claims to be the speech, a divine speech, the speech of my maker. So let me check it out. So in that way, I guess any Quranic text or scripture will be differentiated from
human-made
text.
literature.
Yeah.
Of course, there are differences between literatures, human-made literatures. But some of them needs further discussion, further reading, studying. At first, you may not understand much, and then as you become experienced on the literature, on the subject of literature, then your capacity of understanding the literature changes. But the literature, human-made literatures, cannot really see the future, and they use a language which is open to different generations to follow.
What do you mean by that part?
Sorry?
What do you mean by that part? Like the language being used?
Or the content. And the language also. Language cannot have any purpose 200 years later, according to the human capacity will develop in understanding the work of the Creator, so that the human capacity will acknowledge the quality of the Creator. Do you understand? Now, why the human capacity increases, but the objectives don't change? Now, we can study the universe and discover the quality of the order. So accordingly, we define the Creator who has this quality. Now, because I discovered in his work. Does it make sense? Now, the language of the Quran addresses the human capacity in such a way that 1,000 years later, the people will get the answer from the literature quality of the text, static text, according to their level, layer of, or level of capacity. So the language is so adjusted in such a way, looks so simple, but adjusted in such a way that every generation will benefit from it. Of course, every generation means human capacity increases even more. In one's life also, your capacity increases. When you are a first-year college student, it's different from when you are the fourth-year college student in a particular subject. Doesn't it change? Change, but not endlessly, not 200 years later. For example, Fatih wants to say something. Let's change the voice.
Well, it's like if you compare it to the United States Constitution, that
I was going to ask you about the law. Can you make a law which will be valid for 500 years later? I was going to say.
you try, but no.
You cannot guarantee it. Yeah. Okay, you continue now. I was going to ask you. Okay.
Well, I mean, it's like if you compare it with, it's like the Constitution that the words, they may be the same, but the interpretation, that is always changing. Even the words aren't always the same. It's they get amended and updated, so to speak. And for example, and when I say that, the words aren't changing, but the interpretation changes, it's like the Constitution. A big case is Roe v. Wade, right? A woman's abortion's rights in America. It's like the Constitution that never changed, but after that case, they viewed it differently. So it's kind of like, I don't know, but to go back to your question, like, can you make a law that will last for 400 years? It's highly unlikely that you can make a law that will last 20 years and still be.
So you have to I mean, in order to make a constitution, for example, valid for 400 years, you have to use such a language that knows what will happen in 400 years later. But what do they do now? As you said, even the language, the words of the constitution needs to be amended according to new conditions of human society. But the Quran doesn't need it. Quran, when you study, you understand the answer to your questions right now. But we should know that. We should know that some ambiguity in the Quran is for this reason. For example, Quran says pray. When sun rises or before sun rises, after sunset, when the sun is up, pray. What am I going to do? Praying. Yeah. Does human nature change? As far as need for prayer, it means prayer means what? Practical connection within yourself, in your soul, and it's a source. Referring your soul to its source. You're referring your human senses to its source, connecting them. Like this one, very simple one. For example, I am made, you are the maker, right? And how do I know? Because I am made. Because I am made. Now, there's a delicate point there. How do I know that I have a maker? Because, but this, it's tight. You may be tired right there. Hey, we are half an hour late till then expected time. So let me cut it short. We have to understand this one. One thing is constant. I need to know who my source of existence is. Is it constant? Where did I come from? Yeah, what is the source of my existence? Right? That is established. How can I know the source of my existence? By looking at them. Who made it? No, nobody in the universe. So what I do now, because if I study my own being as a human being or any being in the universe, I know that they are made. So there must be a maker. So I identify myself with the maker, right? How do you identify the maker? Be careful here. According to the capacity, not the potentiality. Capacity, you are aware of the nature of yourself as a made being. Do you understand that? Now, if you say that, if someone says we are made of flesh, bones, and blood, you say, or I say, my maker made me with the flesh, bones, and blood. Now, the more you become aware of the complexity of your, at this bodily existence, but also human capacity, human sight, emotions, feelings, morality, questioning capacity, as much as you become aware of it, that much you understand your creator. He is the one who used in my being not only flesh, blood, and bones, but all sorts of elements of the universe in my material being, plus all sorts of emotional side that we have. All of them are included as much as you know now. Tomorrow we don't know, or the next generation, we don't know what they are going to discover in the structure of human beings. Now we know that brain is there. We know that such a concept which is consciousness exists, awareness of your own existence. Now tomorrow they might find out something else. So the language of the Quran is so simple, basic, and it says, you know me as much as you know yourself. You can qualify me as much as you can qualify yourself. Endless. Do you see that? Do you have to amend this? This kind of language. So I think let's read the paragraph and we should stop. It's too early. Yeah.
So, the four basic purposes of the Quran are: number one, establishing in the mind God's existence and oneness; number two, the prophethood; number three, the bodily resurrection.
Yeah. For example, we cannot know bodily resurrection. There is no example. Bodily resurrection. Have you seen any dead man who rose up and walked, spoke? Okay. But yeah, the bodily resurrection is the third. Yeah, I'm marking it. Yes, it's the third. And
Number four is justice and worship.
yeah, that is also human nature. We want justice in every condition. We want justice towards the creation as well. That's a huge subject. Yeah, we have to give the right of the beings as they are met. We have to acknowledge them. Yeah, we cannot kill or burn the things. You cannot waste things, for example. And also you have to use them as a means of acknowledging their creator. For example, if I eat the orange, Wednesday example, orange. What is the justice towards orange is not to throw it into the trash can or play with it, but you have to eat it. One way of understanding justice, make justice to the existence of orange and see that its creator is nourishing me. The creator of the orange, because I know after concentrating on the existence of the orange, it is made, right? So the maker made it in order to let him know that he is the nourisher, right? But if you develop your understanding of the living beings, what the orange becomes a means of understanding its qualities as the nourisher, as the creator, as the designer, as the former, giving form giver, yeah, as the
Shape giver.
Yeah, shape giver, but also inside life, it's a living being, life giver. Now the life is made so much complicated, and as you study the cell, what's going in the cell, you say, oh, he is the all knowledgeable one. Do you understand? As much as you can discover. If you eat the orange only to fill your, well, I like orange, that's what I eat it. It is not doing justice to the existence of the orange. Because it's within your capacity to concentrate on it and understand. This kind of justice. And justice ends with worship. Why? The more you are just towards the existence of the objects of the universe, the more you become aware of its existence and your connection with the existence of the universe. No, your connection with the creator of this orange with its qualities now you are experiencing, you become more and more acknowledging his capacity. And worship is acknowledgement. Do you understand? So justice and worship, in fact, goes hand in hand. Okay, good. Let's read. It's too much. Okay.
Therefore, the Quran refers to the facts of creation, which are the subject matter of physical sciences.
Yeah, it always gives this the physical beings, which are the subject of physical sciences. It means the more you study the physical side of the beings, you become aware of the qualities manifested in them. So you become more and more familiar with the qualities of these physical objects. Right? That is how we establish the relationship and worship, concept of worship with the Creator. Yeah?
And can only be known through scientific study.
Yeah, but look, scientific study is what? Dynamic. They say science is self-correcting, means dynamically changing their findings. They assume, they study the same order, but they interpret in this way or another way. Their interpretation changes according to their new findings. That's why science is self-correcting. They say, look, for example, using the computer example, you find this one and this two keys. This happens. This appears on the screen, right? And they say, okay, this is the reason for what we see on the screen to appear there. But later on, human beings find that, oh, no. Only click on the mouse, or here the mouse changed. Now, here, on this point, on this icon, it has the same, we discovered this. That's what they mean self-correcting. They self-correct. But they never, material science, never self-correct their interpretation. It means naturally it's happening. Do you understand it? But the findings and deciding that maybe in medical studies, this medicine is good for this, and they understood that there is rare side effects. What they do, they correct it, say that this is also the side effect of the medicine, right? They correct themselves according to new findings. But the interpretation of their findings, either natural by itself or they are made. That is different. The science is self-correcting as far as their physical description of the physical order of the objects. We have to understand this. Physical descriptions of the order of the physical objects. They self-correct, but they never self-correct unless the scientist changes his mind, saying that, I thought it happened by itself, but it cannot be. Because it is always there. Either you accept it or you don't accept. What the scientists do, lots of subjects we have to be very carefully distinguishing. They say science is self-correcting. As we find it, we will have another explanation. Explanation is your interpretation. But describing the physical quality of the physical objects is self-correcting. But explanation of the reason why the order is like this is self-correcting by correcting your own interpretation of the source of existence of this. If you don't change yourself, you don't self-correct yourself, but they misuse it. If you are very careful, this of course, sciences is the people, but the scientists are the people who are open-minded. Open-minded of what? Describing the physical objects. They may make a mistake and correct it, but they are not open-minded. How do they interpret it, the existence of this physical quality? Do you understand? It happens within themselves, not because of their discoveries. So if someone changes his intention, it means if someone says, I'm going to be honest, why do I obstinately reject that there is a creator? Let me study this universe, whether it is happening by itself, accidentally, or it is really prepared and designed. Let me be honest. He changed it himself. Science is self-correcting, but scientists' interpretation is not self-correcting. Interpretation needs the intention of the scientist. He must correct his approach, his interpretation, not the quality of the object. Do you understand the difference? They are trickily using this. Always, if the religious man comes, says something, those people who believe in God says something about how the things are happening, no, science will find out. Because science may not be able to find this one, but the reason for it, we will find it later on, because science by its own nature is self-correcting. Look, there are two different points here. Science, as the description of the physical objects, is self-correcting, but the human being's interpretation of it needs human changing of intention. Whether I will be honest to understand who I am in this world, or I will be obstinate against religion. Depends on your understanding. There are lots of fine points that is not really, how do you say, described by people. Generally speaking, people don't know this. So the college students say, I believe in science, I don't believe in religion. They are so simple. So a simple mind. But they don't know what they are talking about, really, because of the trick, the language they use. They have to question. Okay, we don't have time.
Yeah, I just wanted, so this whole self-correcting lingo that is being used, I mean, it's new to me.
Well, for the scientists,
is self-correcting as in when people are discovering the order and creation, like.
well, let's put it in this way. Before, people thought that the sun is revolving.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on they discovered that, oh, not the sun, but the earth. It is self-correcting.
Oh, I see what you mean.
But what they are replacing this reality, whether the sun is revolving around the earth, or the earth is revolving around itself, so that we see as if the sun is fixed there, we turn it. That's why we say, oh, sun is here. Now when I go there, oh, sun is there. Now the sun is here. That is what they mean, self-correcting.
Yes.
But whether the sun revolves or the earth revolves, they revolve on an order. Who has put this order? Unless I change my intention, I don't self-correct myself. Do you understand the difference? They play with the word.
Interpreting the self-correction
is wrong.
Yeah.
It replacing it.
Yeah.
Not if you like, the philosophy of science changes only if the person changes himself. But hard study of the physical objects, of the side of the hard study of the physical objects, putting it in lab and finding out how it works, the order is there, it's self-corrected, correct. But not in the philosophy of science, if you like. It means what do you make out of your findings?
So self-correcting is a good thing in science, like when you discover, but then your interpretation has to change.
Has to be, yeah.
Okay, that's good.
But not the idea. They say science is this correcting, self-correcting. We will find the truth again within the science.
Self-correction.
They are tricky. You know, most people don't realize that they use tricky language.
Go ahead.
Oh,
Yes.
this really very horrible. We are going to stop soon. Okay, continue now.
Therefore, go ahead. Ren. Okay, go ahead. Therefore, the Quran refers to the facts of creation, which are the subject matter of physical sciences, and can only be known through scientific study.
Yeah, we understand that. Eh? We can understand the work. Only
Yes,
we
of course.
study it. Yeah,
That makes sense.
that's on the way. Yeah.
Parenthetically, for the sake of its basic purposes. That's an interesting word. Parenthetically, I'm not familiar with it.
Same.
Parentheses. I mean, we have to keep this in mind. Yeah, we have to keep in mind. Yeah.
Okay. While mentioning the facts observable by everyone in every age clearly, it refers to others elusively and in broad terms, leaving their clarification to scientific studies over time and encouraging humankind to study them.
Yeah. Now, we have to give an example. I'm writing here, up to here, but we have to give a simple example about it. Today is the 01/05/19. Here we go. So now we have to stop up. We didn't finish the last point. We will give an example, if you remind me, yeah, how the Quranic literature deals with kind of things. Okay, without making an amendment in the text. That's your subject.
Yes. What was it?
Sorry?
I'm sorry, what was your question?
Without making an amendment to the text, Quran uses such a language that gives guidance to everyone who studies the universe at every level, without needing for an amendment. That's why human constitutions has to be amended, but the Quran text-wise, although static, but doesn't need amendment. When you are, if someone says, I'm reading the Quran, it's so simplistic. We have to study seriously over and over again. We will see all the layers of understanding depends on my capacity. And also, the language of the Quran is amazing. Now, it needs a serious study, but we can give one example at least. Bismillah. I have to stop. Bismillah. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين.